people may argue that the issue with electric cars is that they lack in a little bit of personality. They don't have the soul that some cars used to have. Well, is that all about to change with Cupra's offering the Cupra Born? This car is set to offer sporty performance, sharp styling and funky interiors. Hello Electroheads, I'm Tish and today I've got my hands on this, the Cupra Born. I'm going to be putting it through its paces and seeing if it lives up to expectations. If that sounds good, then please keep watching. And if you like electric car news and electric mobility, then make sure you subscribe to Electroheads. Okay, so a little backstory on the Born. Initially unveiled as the Seat L-Born concept in 2019, the production car was revealed in May 2021 as Cupra Born. The name is named after a neighbourhood in Barcelona. The Cupra Born's lineup offers a choice of two batteries, 58 kWh and 77 kWh, powering a single electric motor that drives the rear wheels. The official range starts at 264 miles, going up to a very impressive 340 miles with the larger battery. There will also be an e-boost later on in the year, which will offer more power. The Born is based on the Volkswagen Group's MEB platform and shares a vast majority with the ID.3. So essentially, it's a chavved up ID.3, and I don't mean that as a bad thing, it's a compliment. I think that they've done a really good job of making this car look tastefully aggressive while still appealing to a younger audience. I love the bronze details on Cupras. You've got that bronze badge and along the bottom of the splitter. It looks really good contrasting with this petrol blue paintwork and also the gloss black details. You've got gloss black on the grille and also underneath the lights. And about these lights, I really like the way that the bonnet overhangs them, giving it an aggressive feel. And also one of my favourite things is the Cupra badge is actually mirrored in the lights to the badge. How cool is that? You've also got these really great little triangular designs everywhere, on the side of the lights, along the grille and elsewhere on the car, which I'll show you later. It may share its dimensions with the ID.3, but the Cupra Born is actually lower to help with that ride handling. My test car is sitting on 20-inch alloy wheels, which are the top spec and they start at 18s. Also, if you go for the performance variant, you get some wider tyres to help it stick to the road. My only issue with these alloy wheels is the rear has drum brakes, something which can be forgiven on non-performance variants, but on a car like this, I think that's a little bit stingy. The Born can accept a maximum charge rate of 135 kilowatts, which is pretty average for a car in this class. What it does mean is if you find a rapid charger, you can gain 60 miles in just 7 minutes. Around the back, well, it looks ace, doesn't it? It would be at home on a Formula E racetrack. I love it. You've got this extended rear spoiler, and then you've also again got these sharp LED lights which mirror the Cupra badge, connected by an LED light bar. At the bottom as well, you've got a nice gloss rear diffuser with those sharp fins. Boot space is a competitive 385 litres and features a small compartment under the boot to store your cable. Just like the boot space, rear space is, well, pretty unremarkable. It's pretty competitive for a car in this class. I've got a decent amount of headroom, although the roof does slant, so taller people might struggle. You've got no transmission tunnel, so plenty of space to pop your legs. However, this centre console does come quite far back, so you won't be able to pop your knees behind it like you could in some other cars. The cabin of the Cupra Born is, well, just really quite lovely. It feels elevated above the ID.3, and as well, a lot of the materials used are recycled, like these seats. They're actually made of recycled polyester. These seats are great as well. Look at these wing backs. And if you look really closely, remember I was talking about those triangles? Yep, they're on the seats. You've got little flecks of copper in the shape of triangles. And again, triangles on the dashboard as well. This is just about the only bit of material which isn't particularly nice, but it kind of gets away with it because it's just a small portion. The only problem is there's some interior lighting on the door cards, which is really nice, and it kind of lacks it underneath the dashboard like you do get on the ID.3. Something that can never be argued about though is the steering wheels on the Cupras. You've got the copper stitching on the inside, and you've also got that really unusual shape on the inside as well, with an almost woven effect. The only thing that lets the steering wheel down is these gloss black haptic buttons. They can be a little bit tricky to use. The Cupra Born gets a little 5.3-inch digital instrument cluster. All the graphics are nice and everything you need to see, like your speed and your range, are there. It's positioned well as well. It just feels a little bit small. In the higher spec models, you also get an augmented reality head-up display, which will show your satellite navigation in front of the road ahead, which is pretty nice. You also get a 12-inch colour touchscreen as standard, and that's actually 2 inches bigger than on the entry-level ID.3. It's really clear and easy to use, and look at those graphics. It's really nice and bright, a lot better than the Volkswagen product. The only problem is it suffers with the exact same issues as the Volkswagen, and that's the fact that it has no physical climate control dials. They're these little like slider long haptic buttons, and actually at night, just again like the ID.3, it's not lit up, so you can't even see it. Standard equipment's pretty good as well. You get satellite navigation, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and you also get a rear view camera and parking sensors on all levels of the Born. There is a couple of different battery variants. The one that I'm driving today is the slightly smaller battery, a 58 kilowatt hour battery producing 204 brake horsepower and 264 miles of range. Pretty decent figures, right? But then there's also a larger battery, 77 kilowatt hour, producing 230 brake horsepower, but here's the big bit, 340 miles of predicted range. Performance is sharp and punchy. Despite 204 brake horsepower in what is essentially set up to be a performance car, it doesn't sound much, but because of that electric burst of power, it means that it gives it a real punch, and the 0 to 30 feels really impressive. Step up to the 230 and of course you have an extra burst of further power. I just feel that even despite those two figures, 230 is a little bit tame. I mean, let's face it, the Formentor gives us 300 brake horsepower, so it just feels that they've held back slightly. The Cupra Born has had a lower suspension, and it's also had a reworked chassis to give it a sportier feel, and that definitely has been achieved. It sticks to the road so well, although on these 20-inch tyres, you really feel a lot of the bumps, let alone if you pop it in sport mode, you start to bounce around in the car. The one thing that surprised me, though, is the steering. It's not quite as engaging as I actually expected. It feels just slightly too light. The Born gets regenerative braking, which puts some of the energy lost from driving back into the battery when you brake. You access the braking mode by tipping the gear lever forward. The only problem is I can only find one option with no ability to turn it up or down. I'm not saying that you're not able to, but it doesn't have the little paddles behind the steering wheel that some other cars have, and it's certainly not a one-pedal drive. Don't expect a Nissan Leaf level of braking. Just like a lot of the Volkswagen Group cars, the Born gets a really great safety suite of equipment, which includes things like traffic sign recognition, adaptive cruise control with active city braking, which has pedestrian and cyclist detection, and on top of all of that, an anti-fatigue warning. With 2 battery sizes available, specification levels named V1, V2 and V3, and an e-boost variant bringing more power coming in the summer, choosing which Born can fit into your needs can be a little overwhelming. So we would suggest playing around with building your Born online. Prices for the 58 kilowatt hour, 204 brake horsepower, 264 mile V2 model starts from £34,715. But with most of the longer range, higher specification cars coming in at under £40,000, we think it's well worth upgrading your Born. I've had such a good day spending time with the Cupra Born. It's taken what was already a brilliant package in the ID.3 and then wrapping it in this new design with sporty styling and sportier steering as well. I'm just a little bit disappointed with the performance. I think they could have gone even punchier, even on top of their performance ones, which are coming later on in the year. But maybe I'm just being a little bit choosy. Let me know in the comments down below. Do you think Cupra have done enough with the Born, or do you think they could have gone even further? If you've enjoyed this video today, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more electric car reviews and also electric mobility content from me and all the rest of the team, then make sure you're subscribed to Electroheads. Until next time guys, see you later.